Hey, welcome back, you guys. What up, party people? I am Erica, and this is my panelist, Goody Gabor.
Goody. Skitty. Hey.
Hey, hey. So today we're doing Never Ever Met season
Again.
two. Exactly. We're two for two. Deuces. Season four. I'm sorry, season two, episode four. Lying for the sport or lying because of
Lying for
sport.
sport. As a
Lying for
sport.
sport. As a sport. Something about sporting and lying. You all know what we
Lying for
mean.
sport.
Lying for sport. So we're gonna get into it, people. Here we go. Give us some music.
I want a happy ending. Tired of pretending. You let them get the best of me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Give me a break. The game is survival. Give me a break. And play my arrival.
All righty. Okay, we're back. So before we get into the super thick of things, what were your overall thoughts of the episode?
I want to get again, I'll give them a strong 8. It's a good episode. I'm liking this season better than the first season. It seems like the production team has gotten all the kinks out of what they want the show to be. Um, I feel like the last show and reality in general, we've had this discussion on numerous occasions. I feel like when it comes to romance, they are playing in the face and they're playing in black women's face
Right.
because they know that we're interested in seeing some form of story on screen. Um, so last season, when people were faking it till they made it, or and making it not as a couple, but the big screen, so to speak. I felt like they were playing in my face. I didn't think I'd watch the second season, but here we are. I'm enjoying it. Strong 8.
And I agree. I would give it a strong 8, 7, 8. I think I really am liking it. And I agree. I reviewed it last season and it just felt like everybody was just trying to get airtime to be on TV. It just felt very overproduced.
But to be fair to the people from last season, they had recorded it like 2 years prior. Hell yeah, I want to be on screen. I've been waiting for 2 years. I've been telling my people about this.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
They were
That's
doing
true.
too much, but
That
they were
that's
doing
true.
entirely too much.
But I don't know if it was because, yeah, I guess you're right. So maybe it was filmed coming out of COVID or whatever,
Yeah,
but I know that I felt like um yeah, like it seemed very produced, very fake. I didn't really get the vibe that
even
anybody was really.
this is the thing. We didn't have a chance to get a vibe because after episode 2, the people was already online doing interviews.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
fake. So it's
Yes.
like,
Yes.
oh, you
Yeah.
gonna play in my face for a couple of episodes, but tell me in the second, I'm good.
All right. So okay, so let's get into the thick of it. All right. So before we so one of the things we talked about behind the scenes is there were a lot of group scenes where the people are kind of hashing it out, which I think can be helpful, and but also I personally feel like can also be like partially I don't want to say irrelevant, but
I can't believe I'm gonna say this because I have my feelings about this show seasons later. But Ready to Love, the way they
mhm.
do it is the men commune with each other and the women commune with each other. They mingle, right? With this, it's too much of a hodgepodge of people in your business. Everyone.
Yeah. 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 No, I agree. And I guess, I mean, that's how it is. You have to contrive something for the TV. So, so it is what it is. So before this scene takes place and he kind of talks to Carly, I don't know if it was before, I think it was before this. Jared is with the men and he kind of, dare I say, pussy pops and backpedals on
On
his
what he
F
said.
no. And I'm like,
I don't think he wasn't drunk when he wrote it.
and I'm sure the producers told you to play that stupid game anyway. So, so he kind of Oh, I think I'm gonna give her a chance. Maybe that's because he realized he looks like a jerk on the TV. Like I'm like, you you know, you all still are gonna have 6 kids. Like I don't know, So I think
Um,
he doesn't want to look like a jerk to us for smashing. I don't know if someone texted him like, or I don't know if someone was like told him he looked crazy, but
it just lacked integrity.
yeah, and he's not standing in his lack of integrity self.
Right. And
Stand on it. If you just want to smash and you know you're not going to get with somebody who has 4 kids, then do what you do.
well,
Do what you
on
do.
top of that, just back to what we were saying about the group, you do not know these men well enough to, if you are going to lack integrity, to come out and tell them that you have a lack of integrity. Because
I,
any one of them could have been pillow talking with the ladies they're there with, and then that could have gotten back to her.
or I would go further to say not gotten back, it will get back. It hasn't gotten back in this episode, but by the end, I think it's going to circle around. I definitely feel like she's, obviously she's going to see the show. So you don't really care what she thinks to some extent, but
Are
in
we
this
gonna
situation,
are we gonna stay on the couple and pull apart all of their things? Because I have so many thoughts about them. Or are we gonna go through scenes?
um well, I have the photos in arrangement by scenes, but
Okay, so let's
usually
go.
wait,
Let's do
what? But I will say this: usually when I review, like when it's just me, I usually go by couples because I think it's just easier to talk about the couple all the way around. And definitely, I think for them, we can because they didn't really outside of hitting up the boom boom room, they didn't really have too
this.
much.
That's my
So
issue. She has a 1 month old. Doctor's orders when you have a child is 6 weeks. If you have a 1 month old and you're on the show, you shouldn't be in anybody's boom boom room. Now, many people violate that 6 weeks, but many of the people violating that 6 weeks are violating that 6 weeks with the person they created the life with.
yeah,
Right. So
exactly,
I'm like,
exactly.
what is this boom boom room thing that you're like, so casual? This man, okay, you've been talking on the phone and you're from the same hometown, but you have a 1 month old. You're still pumping breast milk.
And you know for a fact that he too cheated on you
Right.
6 or 7 months ago. And kind of and I mentioned this last week when we discussed this. I have felt and I felt like this first season that there's always a secret behind why the people don't get together. So this episode we learned Kiki's secret, but in this situation it's like, dude, whoever he got pregnant, like you all haven't really discussed who these people were to you. So Charli tries to act like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know, was it a one night stand? You let
I don't
Smash
believe that.
rock?
I believe that it's the father of the other kids. If you ask me, I think that's
Right,
what's
right, exactly. And furthermore, who is the mother of his 6 month old? You know
and
what
a
I'm saying?
6 month old.
That's why he wasn't in a rush to meet you
And that
because
woman want to be with him. Okay, that's
exactly.
she want to
Exactly.
be with him.
She's like, he told her, kind of like, not that I even watched that show, but Love is Blind. He probably sold her something that's like, oh, okay, let me just go get this check right quick and I'll be back. But I'm not really going to be in a relationship with this person. So that is the thing I feel like that they need to kind of hammer out before they do any boom boom.
Right. So
And
at least show us that discussion.
exactly, exactly. And because they don't appear to have it. And especially if he's, I mean, this is the next day. Last night you said F no. And then today you like, well, if you're ready to do a little boom boom. And
And he
honestly,
sounds cringe in the confessionals.
yes,
I've been waiting to crack that. Like, and why do they keep saying crack that? Like,
I,
yes, I know it's street vernacular, but I don't think it's modern day street vernacular. So
I
what
don't know what day or what town or what area. Cause I'm like, yeah, this, I don't know. Smash was bad. I don't
this
know, but hit it, all these things, but crack, ugh, it's a tad disgusting. So no, I don't know why and why he feels the need to
I have
crack
no
somebody he's not
idea.
interested in. He doesn't want to be with. I'm like, if you don't want to be with her, then why?
There's no the backpedaling doesn't help if you're in the confessionals being cringe.
Exactly, exactly, very much so.
So that was my one thing. I was like, she said she got a 1 month is 4 weeks.
I know. Wait, hold on one second. Let me. I think there's something going on my stove. So give me one
Okay,
second.
not a problem. You
Talk to the
burning the house
people.
down?
Right, exactly. I can't burn down this condo. Okay, so talk to the people. I will be right back. Hold up. This is so
Hey, the
crazy.
people. I can't even see how many of the people are here, but I'm here. I'm here, and I haven't been potting for quite some time, so I'm getting my sea legs together. Hold on. Oh. Yeah, I'm getting my sea legs together. So Erica's burning down the house. I'm getting my sea legs. I can't even tell how I would be able to tell how many people are on. Hmm. We gonna have to just be quiet, y'all. Be quiet.
All right.
Burning down the house.
No fire. It's still going low and slow.
You was
All
trying to set it
right.
and forget it on the stovetop.
Yeah, I mean, I was starting. I was like, do I smell something smoky? Did the water boil off? But we should be good. Let's see here. All right, I'm back. Okay, so yeah, so I agree with you. I can't believe that they did the boom boom
And
room
then
thing.
and then the boom boom room is cringe too. Like, I mean, show us the condoms to say there's safe sex going on, but it's
Um,
very frat,
it's kind of a turn off when you show us the condoms and then you also have a camera.
right?
It's like,
It's giving
like
Hugh Hefner.
thank you. Are they going to reach for the condoms? And so yeah, so they made the point of saying, oh okay, well once we saw
The
the
camera.
camera, we were just going to chill, but then
I don't
they
believe
didn't.
them,
Well,
but
no,
I
they did.
also
And the
think
next day, she's like, "Oh, it was amazing," or whatever.
and
So
more than I bargained for, everything I expected and more. This is my thing. Um, they do need those cameras because if something go down in the room that wasn't supposed to
thank you.
go down
That's
in the
true.
room,
That's true.
they will be liable. So they need to be able to be like,
Exactly. Consent is a thing, and we're gonna have to talk about it when we do hot topics. I know that.
"Phew."
All right. So let's see. Well, we'll just flow with it however it works. Let's see. Okay. So I guess we can get into this couple right here and talk about them because let's see. Kiki, are you with me? What's that? I gotta get that Kiki song before the season's out. Let's see. Kiki and Brandy. Where are you guys? Here we
My
go.
thing, I feel like Kiki's missing the point, right? We have
Right.
all the other issues, but the big point is your laziness and how you left me cooking for 14 people.
And I don't know if I'm just a trip because I like to cook, but not only did you leave me cooking, I also had to wash all
Had to
those
wash the
dishes.
dishes. Yes.
I would have been so mad. And he
And
was able,
he was tight. Because
and
that
yeah, and she's just like, oh, you're so controlling. You're so controlling. And
right.
all this.
She hopped over that, so there was no accountability there. And I think the overarching theme there would be I can't trust you for the things you say you're gonna do.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting about this scene is they're having their little spat, and I guess Alicia's like at the pool trying to sunbathe and eavesdrop at the same time. So, so they kind of get into it, and then what I did not like was how they ended this conversation. Like they either said, "I'm sick of you," or "I'm tired of you," or something they both said to each other that was
Harsh. But
a
I
little
mean
bit too much.
I feel like she don't really have no good leg to stand on. You done pissed this man off, and then we'll find out later that she's leaning on a trigger that she knows he has.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So let's move on to that. So he gets up and leaves, and I guess
He
we'll
goes
get
in the
into,
kitchen.
hold on.
He
Let's go
goes in the
back.
kitchen to tell
Yeah, let's
people.
go back. Okay, so yeah, so basically he gets up to leave. We will hit on Alicia. I guess we're doing scenes kind of. But okay. So he gets up in the kitchen, and because I do feel like this one we won't get into the full thing about them, but he gets up in the kitchen and he's venting to whoever's in the kitchen. And I don't even think he said that much before Alicia came in there and was
He came
like,
into because she didn't like the way he left Kiki at the pool. I think that's basically what it was.
and again, I feel um like I mentioned last week, these women are gaslighting her. Like like to me, you saw she was falling over drunk. We all saw it. So for you all to act like, oh yeah, Kiki, we're team Kiki and Brandon's crazy is trifling.
On
Like,
top of that trifling, Alicia has no leg to stand on. Like Brandon told her, "You worried about me and what I got going on. Why don't you go fix what you got going on?"
yes. And so Irvin comes in, and now I did like this because they report to Irvin like, your girl is tripping, which I don't remember. I don't remember if they did or not when she got into it with Ty about the
Yes,
Mia.
because what happens is, I think from the male
Oh yeah,
perspective,
that's right. That's right. Yeah,
there
you
is
tell
a
your
need
man to
to
check
say,
it.
"Hey,
Yeah,
I wasn't trying to disrespect you, but this is how she came at me, and I was in reaction mode. I'm not trying to
exactly.
disrespect you."
And I liked that he was like, okay, I'll handle it.
But
And
it
he
also gives him anxiety. I'm already not really messing with her too tight,
and this is now the second person that came to me talking about you crazy. And I
but
know
on
you talk
top
to
of
me crazy. You don't want to dance. You were doing yoga with somebody else, and now this.
But on
So
top of that, right? Like, you could clearly see he was having anxiety. He's doing the deep breathing, he's holding his head. Her thing that she's always rattling off is about her peace and her being not being on edge. She's putting him through all of the feelings that she's trying not to have for herself. And she's putting herself in smack dab in the middle of conflict.
of other people's mess. And now he has to kind of stand up for her. And it's like, it's like you have that friend that's trash, and now they want you to stand up and fight after they done start the fight. Like, no, like, you get yourself together. And so he does try to say something to her, and it like immediately goes left. She starts like, now here's my thing, like, um, give it up for prayer, but can you wait till I'm through talking? Okay, like,
My whole thing,
how's
like,
she gonna start praying in the middle of his sentence? Like, wait, what? How are you
if you
chanting
can
and he's still
recall,
talking? Like, what is he talking about?
if you can recall, I'm a high priestess, spiritual practitioner. One of the worst things I think people who go to church can do is weaponize their religion against you.
Yes.
Not even church, just church. Whatever it is you believe in and however you believe. When you start to weaponize that and
Exactly. If
like,
you ain't Tina Turner, I'm not
well,
doing
or
it with
if
you.
your name ain't Miss Sealy, please get out of my
Thank
face.
you. Exactly. Exactly.
And then
If
she
it's not
wasn't,
in
it wasn't a
context,
Buddhist chant. She was speaking in tongues.
right? I know. I know. I was like, oh, okay. Now all of a sudden you got the Holy Ghost. Are you
We're not
serious
really
right now?
speaking in
Stop it.
tongues. There
Stop it.
ain't no
Stop
spirit
it.
in here that's going to give you the ability to speak in tongues right now, except for you're trying to do something. It's a gaslight.
It was so crazy and irritating. I was like, girl, I know you not trying to say you got the Holy Spirit in the middle of a
In the
conversation.
middle of conflict that you started.
Just because he asked you to be quiet and listen, now all of a sudden you got the Holy Ghost. Make it make
And all
sense.
he's trying to say, hey, when we're in this house, we're supposedly here together. You and I know it's bullshit, but I have to rep. You want me to protect you, but you can't keep putting yourself in the middle of conflict.
Right. And
And
he told her a couple times, just keep it to yourself. If you team Kiki, which I don't see how you could be. And then, and then now one thing that she did make a point of, which I thought was interesting. She did say to Brandon, or maybe she said this to Irvin in explaining it. She's like, well, I told him to go and talk to Kiki about it. Um, I forgot how she put it, but basically, like someone who actually cares. And that's the truth. I mean, to some extent, that's the issue I have with
It's
the
the truth, but
situation.
it's something she's not capable of because he's trying to talk to her and he's tried to talk to her about
Right.
issues he has with her and what she does.
No, 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 no. What my point is,
She's right.
she's right in that
The message is right. The
no, no, no,
messenger
no,
is
no.
right.
Who you talking to? Those people don't care. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you gotta go back and talk to Kiki. You need to call your uncle, call your mother, so you can talk to somebody. But I'm like, I that's the thing. I think these people kind of give skewed advice to some extent because they aren't really friends. They don't really care. They don't
They're
have any
not truly
vested.
invested.
Right, they're not vested. So that I thought that was an interesting sort of point she made because it's like, well, yeah, it does mean like, oh, you should go talk to Kiki or whatever, but it's like, no, nobody in this kitchen really cares. I don't want to hear it.
But
That's
then
really
to
what
be
she was saying.
fair, they're all in the same pressure. So from that perspective, they understand the
They
circumstance.
do, right. I do believe they understand. And I think some people are giving decent advice, but other
The
people,
people sitting down with Kiki acting like it's all good.
right, are not, and they don't really care about her.
And but what I love is how she was making it not a big deal, but we'll address how she found out, nah, I'm bugging.
Right, right. Okay, so back to Kiki. So that was just a little brief Alyssa Urban Institute. So okay, so here we are. So this was good because this is I'll hide this so we can see this. So this is when they meet with the therapist. So I'm not sure how they decided to go to therapy because I don't see them
Um,
really asking. But
Tasha, I think is that
Tasha was like, I heard y'all been arguing. So maybe Alyssa called her. I'm not sure. But somehow they get thrown into therapy, which they do need. So that was great. And so they talked to the therapist, and I liked the way the therapist let each person kind of get out what they needed to get
she
out.
was a true mediator. She's good at her
Yeah,
job.
yeah,
Last
she did
week,
a really
I
good
feel
job.
like the therapist gaslit Irving. That's his name.
Yeah,
Irving. I felt like she gaslit him.
yeah, she was definitely Team Melissa, and I felt like this therapist was very well in the middle because she very much did. She kind of like you said, like she said, well, how much do you think is binge drinking?
Well, no, she said, "How much do you drink?"
Right.
She let her answer. What do you think binge drinking is? Let me help you. It's 4.
It's
Like,
four.
and she was
And
like,
you're
"It's 7. I do 3 shots and 3 separate drinks and a beer and a wine."
and I agree with you in that we find out now that he is actually triggered by the drinking because excuse me of his stepfather and things in his past. So for her to like be
Totally.
falling out drunk and totally ignore that and act like, oh, he's just trying to tell me what to do. He's not telling you what to wear. He's not telling you, he's asking you to not drink after, and certainly after times when you said you weren't drinking. And the thing I think that's interesting with her is that she talks about how controlling he is. However, she doesn't really seem to realize that the more she explains, the more she sounds like she has a
Yeah,
problem.
the more she's saying, I do have a problem.
The more she's like, oh, well, I started this after, when he was like, well, has anybody else said this to you? And he's like, well, I just had this one friend. Anytime something happened, we would just go drink a bottle. Like,
And even to drink through grief, and yes,
yeah.
grief is hard. Losing a mother, very hard. Still, you try not like I'm one of those people. If I know that I need a drink, that's the one time I'm not having one. Like
Right.
if I feel like I could really use a drink right now, that's not when I'm gonna have one. I'll
And
drink socially.
I agree. And I definitely feel like she has this thing where she needs to drink to be like, she likes to think of herself as a social drinker and all this. I think in her mind, she thinks she's more fun when she's drunk.
I also think that this is self-sabotage because another thing she said to the therapist was, I I don't want to feel like I'm not chosen again. And then she goes into how her ex was choosing like pregnancy scares. And mind you, I give it up to the girls. Like, when you see those wedding scenes and the woman's walking down the aisle and he grabs her hand and he's like, "We done been through so much together." He's crying. Usually that's because he know he does not deserve to be marrying this woman, and all the things they've been through together and all the things she stuck with him through is cheating and pregnancy scares. No, right? So for whatever reason, and they showed a clip of this scene. I thought what she was saying was she was still living with the ex, like he hadn't moved out yet. But what she was saying was there was overlap.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of overlap because she's only been over the guy for 4 months. So I don't know if he
And
moved
she's
out
been
4 months ago or not. But if she's been dating Brandon for 4 years, there are probably several years of overlap. And that's the point I was making in the beginning. That's the secret that kept them apart because she came on here like, oh, I'm not happy with my size and I was afraid or whatever. And it's like, okay, 4 years afraid? No, you were living with somebody and you couldn't get away long enough to meet up with him.
and I think she's self-sabotaging because she just had this breakup, so she knows she ain't got no business in anybody's anything. And she probably feels like he's not going to pick her anyway after she tells him how she's been lying to him for at least 3.5 years.
Although, I mean, he might have his own secret. I don't think
He
it's
ain't bring it out yet.
yeah, that's true, but I don't necessarily think it's a total deal breaker because they hadn't even met yet, but I do feel like the longer she waits to tell him, kind of with Clay, the crazier it
I can't
gets.
even deal with like
The
Clay is
crazier it
bugging.
gets. So yeah,
But
so
for her, I think it's something they could get over, but then we don't know what kind of conversations they were having, right? Like, how are
yeah,
people talking to me about a future when you are engaged to be married to somebody else? What was going to happen if he stopped cheating? Because him cheating wasn't the problem. He just wouldn't stop cheating.
right. So I think, I mean, I agree with you, although I still feel like if you never really, and I guess this is the issue with the show, or this is what the show chooses to answer. If you never really meet the person in real life, not saying it's not real, but how real, you know what I'm saying? So I show people some grace in that, we never saw each other. We texted every day or whatever. But if we can never really see, it's sort of like,
A lot of these things start out with, are you free? Are you single? How single?
right. And that's the
Single,
thing.
single, or
I
single
feel
and
like
got somebody.
right. And that's the thing I think that's so interesting is that because it was sort of halfway fictional, I feel like you could be more honest. Like now's your chance to be honest. Like he might have still talked to her no matter who she lived with. Cause it's like, shoot, it's just a text message. It's like
And it's very possible that she was drinking all that because she trying not to, she got anxiety about this thing she hasn't told him.
exactly. Exactly. So now
Mind you, the perfect time for everybody to get their stuff out would have been at that table when they dropped that big ass bomb.
yeah.
Everybody
Yeah,
else should have
yeah.
been
Everybody should have been like, "Psst, psst, let me take you to the back."
well, I'm glad we having this discussion now because you know what? Why don't we all discuss some things that
Thank
we
you,
really
thank
have
you,
said?
thank you. Why don't that should have been a game they played instead of the
Because now
little.
anybody who says something after they threw that bomb
It's trifling.
is going to seem bizarre because they've all gone over into their different just us zones like, damn, that was crazy. Would you, especially Clay, we going to Clay next? Would you ever do something, keep
I
something
know.
from me
I
like
know.
that?
Now I will say this about this couple here. Now, what's interesting is the doctor does get on him about, maybe the way you handled it was sort of controlling and all of this. So that was interesting.
And
Um,
he received it.
and he received it. He received it very well. So they seem to be in a good place. Um, so let's move on to, I don't even remember what do I have coming up next. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So after all this, they go to the night of bowling, which was like the
Or
craziest.
Top Golf, which is
Top
the
golf.
same.
I'm sorry, Top golf. I was thinking bowling, but it's Top golf. And so many couples, I don't know, like, was it something in the top? off liquor. Like they just seemed so crazy. So
They were disjointed. They didn't seem to be.
Irvin and Alicia, I guess we can talk about them since they're up. So I liked this moment because it seemed like a really cute moment, and she seemed to be trying to be nice this episode, this at this point. She was like kind of trying to be fun, trying to be, you know,
Something's off with her though, because she
well, she
came
don't
here
like him, so she had to
correct.
really
Like
push
she
herself.
came here thinking he was gonna be her husband because she's not trying to be a girlfriend. And everything she's doing shows she's not marriage material just yet.
Um, or maybe she is marriage material. She's
For
just
someone
not.
she likes.
She's not married. She don't like him, and I guess I'm confused because it- like I don't know. Like to me, I feel like she's not attracted to him, which is kind of like he doesn't seem like he eating catfish or nothing. He seemed like he was true to how he was. So the fact that she's sort of like,
You know
I'm
what
not
he's
feeling
giving
it.
me when he does his confessional? Did you watch The Shy?
Yes.
Like when he's in his confessional, he looks like a dark skinned version of the Dread. Because like
Oh,
all
okay.
long, just long and the dreads and the suits. So yeah, that's what he's giving me. They seem to have a little crack in their little a chink in their armor in this.
Okay, so here's the thing with them. And maybe this is how I'm feeling about a few people. I feel like some people are sort of doing what they can to not get eliminated or something because we never see them. We don't really know what's going on. All we know is they smash. We still this episode we still don't know anything. They make a little couple of funny cracks. They seem to be kind of cracking a little bit on other couples. I don't know. I don't really get their vibe. I don't think they're necessarily fake. Um but I don't like they're not getting enough airtime. So I don't know if they're not
It's
interesting
probably
enough.
because they're the least problematic. In this house, with everything going left, right, front, and center, if all they doing is sneaking away to crack, if
Yeah,
all they
yeah,
doing is
yeah,
taking crack,
yeah. They're just cracking in the
they're not.
shower. That's all we got on Cinco and
No, but
Jay.
then
So
that to me that would make that they don't have enough drama for the cameras to be following them yet.
yeah, yeah, or yeah, like yeah. So that's
But
it.
that
That's
little exchange seemed a little
it.
choppy.
Seemed a little weird, honestly. It was like it was kind of flirtatious and kind of irritating. So it's
Right, it was flirtatious and irritating, but if I
right,
had to rate it, I'd say I like it because in the end, like she was being semi-combative and he just acquiesced.
right, because he's like whatever. So yeah,
But
so
yeah,
that's
I like it when the city girls win. Jokes.
yeah, exactly. It's like okay. Um, all right. So let's okay. So now we'll finish up with them. I guess we're doing it this way. But so with Alicia and Irvin, now I feel like they had a miscommunication because she was kind of dancing and smiling and stuff, and he looked and she was like, "Oh, I can't dance?" And I thought when he said that's weird, he was talking about her reaction, not her
Yes,
dancing.
he was talking about her reaction because he was like,
He was
I
like, I didn't say anything. And the other
and
girl
that
was
is
like,
weird.
the other girl was, because she kind of snapped at him. And then when he said that's weird, she took it like, she took it to heart about her dancing and smiling and stuff. And it's like, no, you were pushing it with the dancing and smiling. Like, you know what I mean? Trying to be
Right?
fun.
You know what? He was like, I ain't finna do this fake shit with you. I'm eating my taco or whatever I'm eating my taco. Let me eat my quesadilla.
Exactly. This is just how they were looking. And
Let's
she
just
was
not get
like,
kicked off the show. Okay?
thank
Let's
you.
just
She
not
was
get
like, ugh. And so, and this one I kind of felt bad for him because he, he wasn't calling her weird. He was calling the fact that she snapped on him weird. And she kind of totally missed it and was being sort of hypersensitive because I think in her mind she was really putting
because
herself out there.
She wanted to. Yeah, I guess in her
She
mind.
called herself trying to loosen up, and it's like, okay, the dancing and the singing weren't goofy. You snapping off because he looked your way, that's what was weird. And I swear, like, somebody needs to take a quarter or a dollar every time she says toxic, because I was like, if she is toxic one more time, I'm gonna be ill. And so, kind of going back in the car, he falls asleep, which she's like, oh, this is our second date. Like, girl, it's 85 people here
Not
together.
only
This
is
is
it
not
85
quite a date.
people, when you, where are they? Are they? They're somewhere in California, right?
They're in Los Angeles, I believe.
So they had to drive them out to get them to the golf course
Right,
or to Top Golf, and then they had to get their money's worth and have them drinking.
right.
This has been a long damn day, and
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna argue
Thank
with
you.
you.
Thank you. We done argued earlier. I had to defend you. Like, girl, I'm tired.
I'm tired, and he wasn't the only one tired. They were all tired.
Exactly.
But what did she want from him?
What more do you want
What
from
do you want
me?
from me?
In my Tyrese voice.
Yes, I know. They
So exactly, exactly. So, but now let's get down to the nitty and the gritty.
child.
Um, okay.
She is so pretty.
This, no, that's not them. Sorry. Let's see. Clay. I need my little glasses. Okay.
I cannot deal with you and your little glasses. They little
No, I need my big wait.
spectacles.
Yes, my readers. That's what I need. Wait a minute. Do I not have them?
Do not
Oh,
say
here,
readers.
here they go.
Do not
Okay.
say readers. Readers makes us boomers.
Readers help you
Readers.
read. That's what I need, so I can read this little print. Okay, so I don't know. I was like, I'm not sure. I think they both crazy. But what are your thoughts?
I don't think she's crazy. I think she's actually reacting. She's crazy because she's the one who's not really holding Kiki accountable. That's what.
True.
That's where I'm like,
That's true. But in terms of, okay, so basically what's going on with them is she finds out before this that he's eating beef or pork or whatever, and
yeah,
we
why
find
you mad?
and he finds out and we find out that he lied to her about it. um I agree with her in that, like, it's a stupid thing to lie about,
And
but
you're making
then
this up. You are making this up. You made this a thing. My boyfriend is vegan. He's like, look, eat whatever you want. He says when you're eating meat, he says, I don't eat pets, but you can eat all the pets you want, right? He don't care what I do as long as I don't try to make him try to sneak meat in his food. He's fine, right?
right, which I get. So I appreciate, okay, so I guess to me, I appreciate that he wanted to be vegan for her, right? But that being said, you're not going to be vegan like in a week anyway. And giving up meat and being vegan, so meat and dairy products, like, that's a huge thing. So I don't see why backsliding or
Every shoe,
sneaking is that big of a deal.
when he's putting on such a show, every shoe is deceit, right? Because you're sneaking, you make me a sandwich, and then the sandwich, the girl was like, it had egg
And
and
I fried the
mayo.
bread and bacon fat. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Give me
She's
that
like,
bacon fat bread.
I was like, well, damn. So it's like, dang, he really over there. He eating all the meat
And she seemed to be like so embarrassed by it, where I'm just
because he
like,
said, don't tell her. Make me the sandwich, but don't tell her. So you make it. I'm trying to feel like if we have a thing going and you showing them that whatever we have going is deceptive, you gonna be at the down the aisle to, you went through so much with me. No. And this is only after 8 months. On top of everything else, you
well,
know that you have this big ass secret.
so yeah, so that's what I think. I think really that because to me, I'm like, ugh, okay, are we really arguing over him eating meat? Like, to me, I don't think it's personally, I don't think it's that big of a thing, but I do feel like intuitively she knows he's lying because she already overheard him say whatever, and he's like, oh, I was gonna say I love you or whatever,
And then this is
and
very obvious lying, and it's
and
unnecessary lying.
and so to me, I kind of feel like she's so angry about this, but I don't really think she cares if he eats meat or not.
He
I
doesn't.
think I think she knows there's a bigger lie underneath.
Speaking, I'm glad you said that because I feel like there's a lot of intuition going on. I finally did see the end of the last episode where dude was just doing too much.
Right.
And then the when the show started, she was like, "It's the first time I didn't feel connected to you."
Right, exactly. Exactly. Cuz she kind of knew. So I think with Tatiana, like, yeah, she's mad he lied because he got a burger or whatever, but it's not like some huge humiliation. It's not like, and she definitely was like, she called him a B, I think. Like, she definitely
Well,
was very
because
disrespectful.
she was disrespectful, but she's being disrespectful because she's trying to say to him, "Dude, it's a lie you don't have to tell. Why
Right.
are you making this a big thing?" And what's his name? Cinco is trying to tell him, like, dude, she just want you to apologize for eating the damn. Mind you, for
And
him
and
to
and
be, I feel
and
like he's the youngest in the house, right?
right, I think so. But I think that's the issue, is that and let me see if my next picture is of them, because I think the issue is, I do have a picture of them. Miko, I'll come back to this, but I think the issue is because later on they do talk and they apologize. I think she wants him to apologize for the lie, and because I don't think she really cares, like, eat meat or don't eat meat. But the fact that you came to me and, like, you've seen all I eat today and I haven't eaten anything,
That
knowing you went back and asked somebody to make you a burger or whatever,
it just speaks to a flaw. It's a flaw in
is,
his character.
yeah. And she wanted him to acknowledge that more so than saying, sorry, I eat beef. Like, which is the
And then
truth.
he seemed to get it, but the thing I don't understand
He
with him
get
is
it, but not enough to tell her the truth about what
right,
the real
because if
lie
she got
is.
this mad about that little lie, because this is a little lie in comparison to the lie he has to tell,
Right.
or the truth he has to tell, he should have got it all out the way.
Yeah, and especially here because she makes a comment like, "I don't want them to think that we're lying," or she
Compulsive. She said the words compulsive liar.
exactly. So it's like she's giving you, because again, she has to know there's another lie out there because you told her when she overheard what she heard last episode that, "Oh, I'm afraid to say I love you," or whatever. And she knew you were lying then. So you still haven't come clean about that. So she knows there's another lie, and she's giving you another chance here when they try to kind of hash it out, and she lets it go, but she
And she's not
makes,
giving him a chance. Missing chance. He's missing the little loops where he could get in because the more days that pass, the more issues that pass, the more times they have these conversations about, because I don't
right,
want
because her point is,
to.
if you would lie about this, what else are you lying about? Which she knows you are lying about something else. So here again is another time he has an opportunity to come clean, and kind of just goes with the flow.
And again, he's not attractive enough to be trying to pull this off. And then again, um, it's a 2 month old. So if you have a 2 month old with your ex fiance, that situation is just beginning. It's not ending.
Exactly, exactly. And especially like she was living at your house. Like, I don't know, you need to come clean with all of us because I'm in confusion. I am confusion. So you need to figure that out. But she does in this episode forgive him. And, but he still doesn't come clean. So there's, another lie
At this
waiting
stage,
on the
when he does
horizon.
tell her the truth, she needs to punch him in his face. Because what goes through your head is all the times he just looked in your face and boldface lied.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All the times, all
I'm
the
hooking off.
opportunities, all
I,
the opportunities.
I'm from the
So
Bronx. I'm hooking off. I'm I'm
Exactly.
I'm hooking off on you. It's going down. I'm cracking your jaw.
Yes, yes. We're actually cracking. That's
Yeah,
literal and not figurative.
because it just makes no sense for him to. Yeah, none of it made sense. But we've had a lot of discussion about conflict in the house of these people who only been together for about 6 7 days, and we still ain't get to the holy smoke.
Okay. So, one thing we will talk about, and I did take this picture, is when they came home, again, Alicia's like, oh, he's calling me weird and it's toxic. And she must have said toxic 85 times this episode, five of them within this one scene. Um, and the people, and Alexis, I don't know, Alexis and Chris, we didn't really see them this episode. They were kind of in the cut,
They
just
don't have
throwing
enough
in
time.
comments
Like
randomly.
the
And
camera people
so,
must be tired, okay? Because these
I
mofos
know.
got drama.
Right. They're like, okay, we're gonna stick with the real couples. So they didn't really mess with Alexis and Chris this episode. And so the women seem to kind of support her, but
She's not telling the story though.
yeah, and then also the woman Ty was at the table and was like, he didn't say anything, and the camera cut to her. So she was the only one who actually witnessed what really happened. And so she wasn't, it was it was Tatiana, Alexis, and Alicia. And but Brittany wasn't there when they had this discussion, because she could have told her, like, girl, no, you snapped on him before he ever said anything to you. And maybe that would have gotten her back in a regular space. But as we know, she doesn't want to get eliminated, so she's gonna sleep on it.
Right.
Even though she believes him to be toxic.
She's the toxic one, by the way.
Oh
So
my gosh, every episode. And
maybe
love.
she's just trying to make sure she gets screen time. Because you see how the cameras ain't messing with the people who ain't got nothing going on.
Exactly,
Maybe
exactly, exactly. She's like, look, she's like, I have auditions that
they
I that
gotta
I
see
that
me.
I want to be submitted for. So I need to make sure I'm camera ready and I have something
I
to say.
gotta give. I have to give in these scenes.
Exactly, exactly. So let's move on to our last couple, Brittany and Ty.
Before we get into them, because they are the oldest in the house, I believe,
Yeah, I think
I
so.
want to say this whole arrangement is very familiar to me. Right? I remember I'm 50. So I remember when there was the time where I would hear the age 38 and be like, oh my gosh, that's too young for me. And I was like
Mhm.
45. And then I was like, oh my gosh, am I getting to the point where 40 is going to be too young for me? And the answer is yes.
No, in the words of Tracy Ellis Ross, no, no.
No, no, I could do 5 years younger, but I don't think I could do 10 years
Some of
younger.
these older men are
Yeah.
toxic.
So I have dated, I didn't even, I had to check his age to see he was 38. When I decided the men my age were too immature. So I thought, and then I also thought that because as I was nearing 50, I should go 10 years ahead. I have dated a 60-year-old. Well, no, he was like 58, but 58, 60, same
Okay,
shit.
okay,
And
okay.
he gave everything that Ty was giving. Can't take anything seriously. My boys, my boys, my boys. Ha ha. Just showtime, showtime, showtime is like, there's no substance here. You
But
don't know how to court.
I don't think that has anything to do with the age. Because like you said,
He just seems really
I've
immature.
seen that in 50-year-olds, and I've seen that in younger people, and then I've seen younger guys who think you're older and they want to act differently. So,
I'll give you my real issue with dating younger, but I thought he was up there with I thought he was up there because, again, the 55, 56. They don't know anything about dating. And don't let it, because the guy I was dating, he was that guy, and he'd always been that guy. And he had gotten divorced. So he was that guy when he was younger. He was married for 20 years. And then his wife just, or his ex wife just unleashed him to the world, all without any dating skills whatsoever. Right.
Right. Right.
So I thought he was older.
Okay.
But the issue I do have with dating younger, although I'm 50 and my boyfriend's 46.
Okay.
And when he met me, he when you trying to talk and he was like, I was like, how old are you? And he was like, I'm 46. I was like, you're a baby. He was like, I could be your baby. And because he had the fly mouth, we went back and forth. But that
Oh,
said,
that's cute.
when you talk to someone who's younger, they do this thing where they think everything you're saying is not coming from the perspective of a woman with a specific desire or need. They think everything you're saying is talking down to them as if you know it. I know better. So they start trying to man up on you, and you're like, What's happening here?" No, I'm saying this because this is how I'm thinking, not because I'm older than you. So
Yeah,
it hasn't worked.
that's true. Although I will say this, that I have found that it depends on uh, like kind of like with Brandon and Kiki, everyone sort of has their own baggage. So I found, like, to me, I've dated guys who were younger, but they'll be like, "Oh, you think this because you're a lawyer, or you think
Well,
this
I was
because of
about to
whatever."
say that. Don't don't make money. The second a man calls me big money, I am so disinterested because I know big money. There's big money. I'm not as educated as you are. Once you start saying these things, I know that we are about to embark upon something where you're going to try to whittle me down to your size, and then you're going to try to gaslight
Exactly. And
me
I
as if
don't think
I'm
that
doing.
has, and sometimes if the person is younger, they attribute it to age, but I do think that has to do with the person's mentality and their perspective of you and the relationship or whatever. So, that being said, all
This a
right, so
mess.
what do you think about Ty and Brittany? Because I feel like Ty is a trip, but she's kind of crazy too. So, what
Don't
are
know that
your
I think she's crazy. I know that he was on that phone talking cash shit. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that because he was putting on. And I don't think he was putting on to get on the show. I think he's putting on to get to the girl. However, what you talk about, you can only fake for so long. How long? 3 months. You can only fake for so long before your real face starts showing through. You know what his real face was? Even though Alicia shouldn't have brought her ass in that kitchen, his real face was, "I'm not gonna cater to you.
right?
Get out of here."
Right. That's true.
But if you're
That's true.
telling me that you're going to cater to me, and if I am saying to you, because, and I never got this before, but my male friends say that I'm in my soft girl era. I'll be like, okay, I'll take it, right? But there was a time where I'd be like, well, because I'm like one of the boys, I have the homie energy, and I have come, I realize that men need you to be like, no, I need you to do this for me. This is what makes me feel safe. I don't want to be in my
I get
masculinity.
that he is all about the jokes and the homies. I do get that. However, I think, I guess he said, "I'll cook for you. I'll do all these." I don't know. It seemed like she was talking about cooking, because I'm kind of like, well, what do you expect me to
He
do
was
in the
saying, I will
house?
cater to you. I want to do all of this stuff for you. And she's there like, pay like you will. I don't think she's been problematic. And me, I have gotten to the point where I'm the girl's girl, so it's his fault. It's up for Alicia because she bugging. She just all out bugging. She
Well, I
can't
mean,
even
I
come.
don't think, like, her expecting him, like, if he's serving the food for everyone, like, how is he going to go get her drink and bring it
But
right
then I
back?
think her thing is, okay, we had our night for cooking. Yeah, you're on the grill, but why are you serving everyone? You're not here for them. What's going on? I would have.
I
These
think
ain't
that
even your
part is,
people.
I think that's true, but I think confronting him in front of everybody. Like, have the discussion if that's what you really think. Because to me, she was stank at because she was making little snide comments at the Top Golf place,
This is the
and
thing, though.
and even when they were in the car, she's like, "Oh, I want to get out the truck," but she never really said like, "You're
In
not paying
front of
enough
us,
attention to me."
in front of us. But she said when she was in the pool, I think she's at her wits. I think she's spoken to him because she
Okay.
said, I told him and he doesn't care. She said that
Okay.
when she was in the pool. Because I don't know, whoever it was like, you need to speak to him. And she was like, I told him he doesn't care.
Gotcha.
And who wants to be like, dude, you was up on the phone talking about cater to me. And now, because, basically, it's like, are you trying to date these dudes? And men are guilty of really trying to impress the fellas more than they're trying to impress the women. And there are some men who are so guilty of that they won't realize that the fellas will let you do whatever trying to impress them, but they going home, they trying to make sure that their situation
Right.
is good.
Exactly. They're gonna make sure their home turf
They trying to
is
get
safe.
to the boom boom room. Because that was
Exactly.
where you know what? I think that's where she was like, no, this dude got a lot of audacity. Why is he trying to make the fellas believe that he and I are ever going to go to the boom boom room where
Right.
he's not giving me any boom boom room inspiration?
And that was trifling because it's like, okay, when it was just us and the people getting the massage, you were acting like a goofy. Now we're sort of, you know, now you're making jokes in front of everyone about going to the boom boom room and we're not at that place. So I
We're
do
not
agree.
there.
I did agree with her on that. I did
We're
agree with
not
her.
there. I've spoken to you. And you know what? What just occurred to me? Maybe he thought that the Karma Sutra, which is why I think the Karma Sutra game was too early in this situation.
Yeah.
It should be like
Yeah.
week 2 or day 5 or whatever, because maybe he felt like the energy they had when they won the prize was enough to make him start making these jokes.
Well, and also I think because even when they won the prize, he made jokes while they were being massaged. So I don't think he has any sort of like self perception of when to turn it off. I don't know if it's because he's nervous or he's just always goofy, but I'm like, dude, okay, if
I
you
have
want
a
to take,
theory.
I think he's taking it for granted that they're already going to be together.
I have a theory about men who always make the boom boom room kind of jokes. Low testosterone. I've been doing my studies, y'all. I've been doing my studies. You know what I'm saying? I was dating the older men, some of the younger men. The more they talk about sex, it's like the more incapable they are. Because if you the ED situation, these men are out here with the low testosterone and not caring. And then when you say something about it, they be like, "You have a one-track mind." No, but I'm not a lesbian. Nothing against the lesbians, but you're gonna have to get the equipment to work. But I have found that
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with you. I need you to not talk about it and be about it.
right,
So
but I found that
I
when they
agree.
talk about it and like pay
Yeah,
attention,
that's true. That's
your
true.
friends like, and I have a friend who was talking about it, and I said, "Look, I need you to stop. You're gonna make people know." He was like, "No, what?" I was like, "You gonna make them know you have low testosterone." And he was like, "My doctor did just say that." I was like, "Yes," and you're giving it away. So that is
Well, that is true. If you talk too much, that means you might not be able to get it up. It's not an exact diagnosis,
but
but it's a
it's
highly
my
likely.
studies. It's my studies, okay? The little
we're,
studies.
we're still performing studies, but we are still performing studies. So, so they kind of have this big blowout in front of everyone, and it just comes very uncomfortable while
For
people are
everyone.
trying to eat that pasta salad.
So this is the thing for me also. Um, He could have just let her vent to the. I don't know who was sitting next to her. He didn't
Right.
have to get confrontational across the pool. I can hear you. He didn't need to do that.
Yeah, I think for both of them, they took it from like a strong 6 to like a 10. I'm like, okay, both of y'all
He's
are over the
oblivious.
top. Yeah.
He's oblivious to how irritating he has been to her. He's not, like you said, he has very low self-aware. He's not self-aware at all,
Yeah.
right? He's
Yeah.
not reading the room. He doesn't see it. I don't think he even understands that when she said, "Get me to can you bring me something to drink?" He shouldn't be like, "Fellas, my lady wants something to drink. Y'all can wait on that little salad." Or he could have said, "You know what, babe? I got it. I'm a pour it. What you want to drink? Can you meet me at the door?"
Right. Or he could have said whatever, you know what I'm saying? But for him to say to her, no, like just say, okay, and bring it after the pasta. Like you don't have to say, okay, now I'm doing this and this and this. You know what I'm saying? And, so I do feel like they both, to be the older couple, this seems like a silly thing to argue about. It
She
seems
was trying
like,
to make a point, though.
yeah,
Her point was, "You're here for me. I've told you already you're not paying attention to me.
yeah, that's true.
Get me
And
some."
he's not. Yeah,
He's not reading the room.
yeah, yeah.
And on top of that, he probably took her, "Can you bring me something to drink?" He trying to impress the fellas. He's more interested in impressing the fellas than he is in investing in what he came there for.
Yeah, and I think at this point he's taking it for granted and he's just not being aware because he should have realized that something was off the night before in the truck because she was actually mad, from Top Golf, but never really fully expressed it. And he
And
hasn't taken the initiative to be like, what's going on? And he's kind of like you said, he's just here cracking jokes, trying to be the life of the party. And
trying
it's
to
like,
impress the fellas.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't I I need me a guy who will be like, "My boys is cool and all that, but I'm not. I don't care. I don't care nothing about what they saying."
I
Right?
agree.
So,
I agree.
um, he's not reading the room, and she was pissed already. She was pissed at the golf thing, and I think she's been trying not to blow up on him
Right.
in front of people, which is why she didn't get direct with him at Top Golf, which is why she didn't tell him because they're not it's not just seven Suburbans out there.
Exactly. It's a million people in each truck.
So it's hard to have the discussion. This is where the group dynamic becomes problematic because it's hard
Right.
to have that one-on-one communication. She, without embarrassing him, she can't say, "Dude, no, this is not it. You should be here for me." Anybody
Right.
who is not, all the people who are not here for each other now have a real problem with each other. We don't have that. The problem we're having with each other is the fact that you acting like you here for them. And there are some women who are like that.
Yeah.
And for him to
Yeah.
be on the phone telling her he's gonna do this, and that, and for them to be 3 months in, she's already told him, "This is what I'm looking for."
So yeah, that'll be the thing. Will he get it together or not?
I don't know how you come back from this public display where, like, for Clay to feel uncomfortable when he know he got all that stuff that he needs to deal with.
Clay and his lies.
Right. For him to be like, "Oh, let me go inside."
No, I agree. So we'll have to see what happens in the next episode, but they left us with an interesting twist.
I think the only way for them to come back is for them to have them to be the next couple in the therapy.
In the therapy, yeah. Like I don't know if because he's not self-aware enough to have a halfway grown conversation. So I think they are gonna need some therapy. But really I feel like a lot of people, their real issue is the miscommunication and not kind of fully being honest, fully being authentic and open, etc. So we will see on the next episode. So Goody, why don't you let us know where we can find you and
Yeah,
what you
y'all can
have going
find me
on?
right here talking to Erica because we got to get some consistency with the microphone. If I'm honest, my microphone ain't even plugged in. It's just here. Um,
It
so
still
y'all can see
counts.
me here, but it's Goody. I'll be back to this. Like what? Once we get a good five episodes under our belt, I could then tell y'all where y'all can find me. But until such time, don't even waste your time trying to go over there because I ain't finna be there.
Well, I'm gonna be doing Love After Lockup, and
I have never watched an episode of Love After Lockup, and I
it's
hear that it is hilarious.
it, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's great. It's
Oh, you
crazy
like
and
the
ghetto, but
shenanigans, Erica. You be with the
I
shit.
mean, here's the thing. I will say this about Love After Lockup, which is kind of similar to these different shows. Between Love After Lockup and 90 Day Fiance, what's interesting is the people who are choosing to put these themselves in these kind of awkward situations to meet someone, right? What are you willing to do for love? And I think, and you always, I think when you watch these shows, especially Love After Lockup and 90 Day Fiance, you always assume that it's the person in prison or it's the person in another country, but really it's the other person that's usually like, what made them choose to write a prisoner, what made them choose to find somebody in a whole other country. So those are the things that are kind of intriguing, because sometimes a person gets out of prison and it's like you are dating a new prison guard now. So anyway,
Well,
that's not.
and on top of that, and I mean, I guess maybe I'll watch it. Is it has it already started?
Yeah, it started, but there's it's like 90 Day Fiance. There's like a million spinoffs, but that's kind of, to me, what's interesting about both of those shows is because like with 90 Day Fiance, I'm like, how bad do you want to be a U.S. citizen? What are you really willing to do? And and the person come out of prison is like, okay, how long do I have to deal with this for? This is where I
Well,
parole to. So
nothing. A person coming out of prison is similar to a person who's recently divorced. Like,
yeah,
I'm not ready to be in nothing
yeah,
serious yet.
they really want to be free. So it is. So anyway,
Yeah, so
so those are the things that are intriguing to me about those shows. But as with Never Ever Mets, the whole meeting online and what makes you really bring it into the real world is also very intriguing.
I tried to do the little online dating, and let me tell you, I got to a point where I was. This is gonna sound bad, and I don't want y'all to judge me, but I got to a point where I was like, did he seem to have the number for the people who could keep their mouth shut for decades, right? I was like, I'm gonna just start hiring the people down from the place that Diddy was getting people from. I was, I was like, I'm done. I'm out. I don't want to meet anybody. I ain't trying to meet nobody. And everybody who was trying to meet me, I was saying things to get them out of my face because
Yes.
I was gonna pay for my peace.
I need to, get back into the swing of things. But for now, you can catch me on here. And we're going to come back this week. We're not going to say when, it'll be a surprise. we're going to
Surprise!
we're going to come back and do some hot topics because I have a lot to say on Shannon Sharp. So I really want to do that probably before Wednesday or by Wednesday or on Wednesday. Who knows? But all right, you guys, thank you so much. If you stayed till the end, please like, comment, and subscribe. And be true, be you, be great. Ciao for now.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Mm-mm. Fuck this shit, I'm out.